You're live.
Good afternoon. Welcome to City Council. Today is Monday, April 21st, 2025, approximately 1 p.m. I am Mayor Eric Enriquez. Before we get started, I want to mention that we have the ASL American Sign Language up in the front, available at every regular City Council meeting, in case anyone needs them. Thank you. We'll start with a moment of silence. If you all please stand for the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces and our Las Cruces Police and Las Cruces Fire Department for protecting our city 24/7, 365. Councilor Graham, if you'll lead us in the pledge. Next on the agenda is presentations of certificates and proclamation. It'll be Councilor Graham.
Good afternoon, everyone. First up, can we please have the General Federation of Women's Clubs, Progress Club, Las Cruces Water Conservation Poster Contest reps? Come on up. So, as everyone knows here in Las Cruces, water is one of New Mexico's most vital and precious resources. GFWC Progress Club of Las Cruces held their third water conservation poster contest to bring awareness to young children. GFWC Progress Club of Las Cruces asked third grade students to draw a poster symbolizing water awareness and the importance of conserving water in the community. We have before us first. Hi. So our first place winner, Emma Ruiz. And second place, Aiden Enriquez. And third place is Darren Martinez, who I'm guessing is not you, but give it a hand anyway. And these winners have received monetary prizes for their hard work, as well as a certificate. Give you, here's Emma. And absolutely. Okay, great. They are all silent champions who are not going to share any further words. So we're going to grab a quick photo. And then if you two, well, three, wouldn't mind going up and around the dais to show your posters, but let's get the photo quickly first. And next up, we have a proclamation for Parkinsons Awareness Month. If we have anyone here ready to, everyone, come on down. You can tell when the font size changes because it's time for the readers. All right. Okay, great. Whereas Parkinson's disease is a chronic progressive neurological disease and is the second most common neurodegenerative condition, it is estimated that nearly 1 million people in the United States live with Parkinson's disease, with close to 90,000 new diagnoses each year. In New Mexico, there are 31,580 people with Parkinson's, and whereas it is estimated that the economic burden of Parkinson's disease to be nearly $52 billion per year in the United States. Medications alone cost an average of $2,500 a year, and therapeutic surgery can cost up to $100,000 per person. And whereas research suggests that the cause of Parkinson's disease is a combination of genetic and environmental factors, but the exact cause and progression of the disease is still unknown. And whereas the symptoms of Parkinson's disease varies from person to person, with some of the more common symptoms including tremors, slowness of movement and rigidity, difficulty with balance, swallowing, chewing, and speaking, cognitive impairment and dementia, mood disorders such as anxiety and depression, vision changes, skin problems and sleep difficulties. Currently, there is no cure, therapy, or drug to halt the progression of Parkinson's disease. However, regular exercise can help manage symptoms and has been proven to slow the progression. And whereas there is no specific blood or imaging test that can confirm a Parkinson's diagnosis, certain tests, such as a magnetic resonance imaging of the brain, MRI brain, and a dopamine transporter scan, DAT scan, can help verify a Parkinson's disease diagnosis or rule out other diseases that can mimic Parkinson's symptoms. And whereas increased education and research is needed to find more effective treatments with fewer side effects and ultimately a cure for Parkinson's disease. And whereas it is a distinct privilege of the Las Cruces City Mayor and City Council to bestow proclamations, and all Las Cruces residents are represented by the councilors, and therefore speak with a unified voice through the actions and deeds of this council. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council of Las Cruces, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim April of 2025 as Parkinson's Awareness Month.
Hi, I'm Sarah Stiegel, co-leader of our local support group. I will introduce a few people from our board. We have Jennifer Villa, she is our webmaster. Ken Posey, he is our new support group leader. And Lynn Austin is our treasurer. And John Melius is our board member and jack of all trades. And thank you, Mayor and Council, for reading our proclamation this month. I'm just going to go over a few things we have to offer now. We have grown. We now have nonprofit status, so we're a 501c3. And with that status, we have a new name, Parkinson's Support Group of New Mexico. And we have also added line dancing to our list of exercises. We have pickleball for Parkinson's. We have Carol Witham's class, exercise for Parkinson's. We have rocksteady boxing, and now line dancing. So we have many, many ways in order for you to get your exercise with our groups. And it's an additional support group. And we have 2 regular support groups, one the 3rd Tuesday of the month, one the 4th Tuesday of the month. And if anybody needs information, we have a website, and it is still the Parkinson's Disease Support Group of Southern New Mexico until we get the new website set up. But thank you very much. Do you have anything to say?
I'm Ken Posey. I'd just like to say thank you to the mayor and the city council members for this. And we're here to serve the Parkinson's community. And if you know of anybody that has a movement disorder or has been diagnosed with Parkinson's, we're here to help. So we appreciate the recognition. Thank you.
Okay, next up, the proclamation for Donate Life Month. We have anyone here? Thank you so much for being here. Whereas one hero organ donor can save the lives of up to 8 people and improve the lives of up to 75 others with eye and tissue donation, and whereas more than 100,000 patients currently wait for life-saving organ transplants across the nation, including more than 500 New Mexicans, and whereas 90 New Mexican organ donors saved 207 lives in 2024, and whereas 3 hospitals in our state had their very first organ donors, including 3 Cruces Regional Hospital in Las Cruces, and whereas 4 hospitals supported a record number of donor heroes last year, including Memorial Medical Center in Las Cruces, and whereas all New Mexicans can register to be organ donors regardless of their age or medical history, and whereas we truly honor those who gave the extraordinary gift of life through living and deceased organ donation, and whereas we encourage every New Mexican to register as a donor on their driver's license or ID card at the Motor Vehicle Division or online at donatelifenm.org and talk to their family about their decision. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council of Las Cruces, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Donate Life Month.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for our proclamation. And please be organ donors, and because one life can save 9 lives, so please consider it. And we do have a 1-year car show for organ donation. We have it at Young's Park once a year, and we have, it'll be October the 18th. We're trying to raise money so we can have our memorial down at La Llorona Park. We already have a plaque out there, so please try to visit our car show in October, and thank you again.
And finally, on my list, Administrative Professionals Day. Annette Granado. Woo, woo. Oh. And everyone else she is ordering down here. As an aside, before I start reading the actual proclamation, I had to inform my husband that I would make Annette Granado the emergency contact on my passport, because I was like, she could extract me from any country within 20 minutes, and I don't think you could do the same. So just a little personal note. Whereas administrative professionals play a critical role in the smooth and efficient operation of businesses, government, educational institutions, and other organizations, and whereas administrative professionals are vital contributors in today's team-oriented work environment, serving as key frontline public relations ambassadors for their organizations, and whereas the work of administrative professionals requires advanced knowledge and expertise in communications, computer software, office technology, project management, organization, customer service, and other vital office management responsibilities, and whereas Administrative Professionals Day is observed annually to recognize the important contributions of administrative support staff. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council of Las Cruces, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim April 23rd, 2025 as Administrative Professionals Day in Las Cruces, New Mexico, urging all citizens to recognize and appreciate the essential contributions of these dedicated professionals.
Thank you. I really just want to recognize all of the administrative assistants that it takes to run this city, because they really are the heart of every single department. So if you guys will come up and introduce yourselves. I'm Annette Granado. I'm the executive assistant to the city manager.
Hello, I'm Leticia Apodaca, and I'm the executive administrative to community development, and that would be the city director, Chris Favor.
Hi, my name's Monica Vega. I'm the administrative assistant for the city manager's office.
Hi, my name is Sylvia Caldera. I'm the administrative assistant for City Manager's Office and City Council.
Hello, my name's Renee Medina. I'm admin assistant to the Parks Department, but I oversee the parks, ball fields, and community forestry.
Hello, my name is Eddie Padron. I'm administrative assistant for Parks and Rec also, but I oversee the Youth Services Department.
Nancy Libby, administrative assistant for community development.
Hi, my name is Lisa Hernandez, and I'm the admin assistant for the communications office department.
Good afternoon. I'm Hazel Nevarez, and I'm the Senior Office Manager for Parks and Recreation.
And this is a very, very small portion of our administrative assistants here at City, within the city organization. A lot of them couldn't get away to come down here, but thank you.
So next will be a presentation. This next presentation is very special to me. He's a very dear friend and legendary basketball coach for Mayfield High. I'd like to introduce Coach George Maya to come up. Invite your family and anybody else for a photo in a minute when you say a few words. George Maya is a graduate of Gadsden High School and New Mexico State University. He began his coaching career in 1983 as a Gadsden High School, and in 1995 he started volunteering with the Mayfield boys basketball program. He was hired as the first freshman boys basketball coach and later promoted to the JV coach upon Jimmy Oliver's retirement, and later then the head coach was Manuel Treviso for Mayfield High at the time. He spent 10 years with the Mayfield boys program before being hired as a head coach of the Mayfield girls program. Coach Maya was hired to lead the Lady Trojans in 1995 and still continues to do so today. In his 30-year tenure with the Lady Trojan, he has compiled an impressive resume with many milestones, awards, accomplishments, national, regional, state, and local levels. His Lady Trojans still remain the only girls basketball program in the city of Las Cruces, in the Las Cruces Public Schools, and the Mayfield High School to bring home a state championship. not only once, but 3 times. He still has the passion today that he brought to the court over 40 years ago when he joined the staff at Mayfield High School. He retired from teaching career in 2018 after 32 years while keeping his coaching position. Any spare time that he can find, he enjoys spending time with his family, his wife Anna, married for nearly 39 years, his 2 kids, Jake and Jenica, and 4 grandchildren. One of them even is a member of the Mayfield High team. Some of his highlighted accomplishments, because there's so many. I mean, we go on to the next council meeting. The big one just recently this year, he compiled 600 career wins, February 6th of 2025. Number 1 in all-time wins in New Mexico in girls basketball. Inducted into the New Mexico School Coaches Association Hall of Honor 2020. 2018 National Federation of State High School Association Girls Basketball Coach of the Year. And then also some of the others, numerous accomplishments, but some of the highlights, of course, state championship 3 times, 2011, 2007, 2004. State tournament champion, game appearances 8. State runner-up 5. District championships 21. Final 4 at state tournaments 10 times. New Mexico Gatorade Players of the Year, he had 2. Lady Trojans moving on to play college ball, 27 athletes. 20-plus wins in seasons, 18 times. This man is truly a legend in our community and the coaching that he does. I can tell you, I remember George when he was playing basketball for Gadsden, and the scouting report was, don't let Maya shoot. You know, that kind of competitiveness and hard work and determined to win is what he carried on to the individuals, the boys and the girls that he coached at Mayfield. George is truly a godly man, a family man. He cares about this community. A lot of people mention all the great things he's done as far as winning and the accolades, but I got to tell you, he cares about the kids in our community. Whether you're playing basketball, whether you're playing volleyball, whether you're playing soccer, if you're an athlete at Mayfield, you got his attention and he'll give it to you. And then he's had the kids camp for many years that he's touched so many lives in this community that young girls want to grow up to be Mayfield Lady Trojan basketball players, but other kids are inspired just to play basketball because of this man. So George, just want to recognize you. This certificate of excellence, this certificate proudly represented to George Maya in honor of his outstanding performance and recognition for his high standards of excellence. This certificate is issued in recognition of civic interest and an expression of appreciation by the mayor on behalf of the citizens of Las Cruces, dated this 21st day of April 2025. To George Maya. I'd like to invite the principal of Mayfield High. He's also here, his wife, family, coaches, anybody that wants to come up. I know one of his coaches is my brother, so you want to come up and get a photo, but I'll let George say a few words.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank the mayor and city council members for this award. And you know, it's something that I love to do, so I don't see it as work. And I've been blessed with my family, with my wife, my mother, and my grandkids and my children. And of course, at work, my principal, my boss, Mr. Frost. Just an atmosphere at Mayfield High School with Mr. Frost. It's really a joy to go to work every day, every morning. He's been so really, just the way he treats kids and the way he treats his faculty and staff, it's just, there's no way that I'm ever thinking of leaving Mayfield. So he has to put up with me for many, many years. But again, I've been blessed. My kids and my assistant coaches, Coach Gary Enriquez, who's been with me, Jenica Montoya, who's been with me also for quite a while, which is my daughter. But also a little bit something about the mayor. I've known the mayor for many, many years, and his family, his mom and dad, and they've been so good to me and treated me just like a son. And you know, we've known each other through basketball and talk about basketball and talk about so many things about life, about kids, and how we treat kids and how we treat people. And I'd like to thank him for being so caring for people and for kids. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you very much for this award, for something I love to do. Thank you.
Next, if I can have Christine Rivera, our city clerk, come down. Christine. So Christine has been selected and awarded as the New Mexico Municipal Clerk of the Year Award. You know, we all work with Christine personally, and we know what a tremendous job she does and how she feels about the city, the organization, the employees, and the community, and she goes above and beyond to take care of this organization. We're very excited, we're very pleased, we're very honored to not only present her and recognize her for this award, but to also share with her, because that's the way she treats us. She shares everything with us. It's a sharing moment, and I'd like council and the city manager to come down so we can get a photo and display her newly awarded plaque. But some of the things is because of the increased transparency and access to city government. Christine contributes to the city and its residents as an example of her leadership and her unshared in a number of key improvements of the city process. Specifically, she has increased the transparency, the accessibility to the city of Las Cruces, and so many things, even with all the IPRA requests and all that she has to go through and do to be transparent. She supports the municipal elections, you know, spearheads that process for us and for the city. She's also an advocate for leadership with other city clerks, always participating in the Municipal League Conference for city clerks, and always trying to learn, improve, get better, but also share with others on best practices. But Christine Rivera has worked side by side with local elected officials, City Las Cruces staff, clerks across from New Mexico to identify areas where processes can be improved. She has identified problem areas in routine processes and provided paths to improvement before the problems impede transparency. Her collaboration with the New Mexico League has resulted in mentorship of clerks in other municipalities, expanding her impacts across the state. We're very proud of you, Christine. We're all proud. I believe Councilor Coran is the one who submitted the nomination, and I can speak for myself and the rest of the council. We second that. So, so congratulations, Christine. Well deserved. All right. Did you want to say a few words?
Thank you to City Council. Thank you so much for always supporting me and having my back. And to the City Manager, thank you also. I enjoy working with you so much. Brad, you're just in here for fun, so I'm not gonna. Just thank you. I'm truly humbled. It's been a rough year for us, and so this means a lot to me. So thank you so much.
All right, next on the agenda, we have Jobs of the Week. Is Sarah Rainey in the audience?
Thank you, sir. And good afternoon, everyone. All right, I'm Sarah Rainey. I'm the one-stop coordinator for the Southwest region of New Mexico. Sorry, America's Job Centers. We're still not used to that yet, I know. The name change is rough. All right, so for America's Job Centers, New Mexico. We have, for the city of Las Cruces, we have a wastewater plant operator 2. That one starts at $23.80 an hour and closes on the 12th of May. We also have a fleet service worker for the city. That one starts at $16.76 an hour and closes on the 28th, so it closes this week. We have a Petco, for Petco Animal Supplies, we have a sales associate starting at $14 an hour. We have a couple of positions at Olam, Spices and Vegetables, a general laborer and a mid-shift forklift operator. That one is from the 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Shift. We have an operations maintenance tech. They actually have 7 positions open at Zia Natural Gas. So if you're interested in those, there's lots of opportunity there. That one starts at $19 an hour. And a controller for financial operations for MVT Holdings. That one starts at $82,000 a year. For our upcoming events this week, actually, we have a couple of different things. We have our monthly Community of Hope Job Readiness event. That one's going to be at the soup kitchen rather than the library because they're still under construction, so we're still over in the soup kitchen. That one's going to be from 2 to 4:30. And then we have a youth health industry forum at Gadsden ISD to help show those students that are interested in the health industry how they can start on their path. So exciting for us and those students. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yes, sir.
Next is Pets of the Week, Carol Nielsen.
Good afternoon. I'm Carol Nielsen, Digital Content Specialist for the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley. As a reminder, our Dog and Cat of the Week are always available at no cost all week that they are promoted. This week, our Dog of the Week is Claire. She says, "I'm a sweet, curious, wiggly pup with a whole lot of love to give. My sister Erin, who was our dog of the week last week, just found her forever home, and now I'm hoping it's my turn. I love exploring new places and soaking in all the smells. I'm still learning how to play and working on my puppy manners, but I'm eager to please, especially when treats or cuddles are involved. If you're looking for a loving, playful companion, I'd be thrilled to meet you. And she really is the sweetest. And good news, our cat of the week, we've been low on cats, and so our cats are literally flying off the shelf. So Goblin was the sweetest little cat, so we're super happy for him. Our long-term residents are available at a reduced cost, and so we would love to see them get into a home. So Dora, unfortunately, is still at the center, 467 days. Alice, 321 days. But good news, you'll notice Luna is off the list. She got adopted, so we're super proud of her. But Tony has been there 305 days, Whisper 264 days. So the long-term residents make great companions, so definitely come spend some time with them and consider adopting them. And this weekend, we're going to be pretty busy. We have our ASCMV sleepover. So if you're interested in having a short-term sleepover with some of our animals, feel free to reach out to our foster coordinator. We're going to be at PetSmart for adoptions 10 to 1 this Friday. And we're having our big on-site event on Sunday from 11 to 1, so stop by the center. It should be a fun time. So, and as always, you can visit our website for more information and a list of our adoptable animals, and also on social media. Thank you.
Next is conflict of interest. Does any member of City Council, City Manager, any member of the city staff have any known conflict of interest with any item on the agenda?
None.
None. None.
None.
Next is public participation, and Katrina will come down to help usher you. We'll work on my left, work our way up. Allowed up to 3 minutes to speak, no pending litigation or items of non-consent. Please speak clearly, directly into the mic, state your name, and any comments are to be directed to mayor and council.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, or good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and council. I'd like to direct everybody's attention to what's on the monitors right now. I have a problem with what happened 2 weeks ago concerning Chief Story.
Ma'am, could you state your name?
Lori English, I'm sorry. Most of you know me by now, anyhow. But anyhow, concerning
just for the record.
Just concerning Chief Story's situation, it's all been set up there, and there is also additional information concerning behavior at city council meetings for public input. And I've noticed over the years, more and more that has become very relaxed. Personally, I was very offended at some of the comments that were made directed at Chief Story 2 weeks ago, basically blaming him for everything that happened. Now, in my opinion, his comments were made under duress. They were made in a very emotional and tragic situation, and that his comments being made in public at that time under pressure shouldn't be held against him. He's an honorable man. He does a lot for this community, and I think you all will agree that we respect him with the most profound respect. But comments made by anybody, any counselor, taken out of context to be used against them later on it should not be allowed. With all due respect, Mr. Mayor, and honor to you, I think that should have been ceased and desisted at the time. There should have been a little bit more control over the input being made against Chief Story. He's done a wonderful job. And I'm not against freedom of speech at all. I'm a conservative, a constitutional conservative, so I'm a very big supporter of the First Amendment. But I do think that when something starts to look like it's going to be getting out of control, it needs to be taken into consideration. And yet, last week, it even got brought to the attention that the behavior was inappropriate of the people that were making the comments. So I just like to call it again to the council's attention that this is something that's in the rules for the city council meetings. It's available to everybody out there, and everybody should be handed maybe a copy of this when they come in the door for the next couple months until things get sorted out, that this should be handed to everybody as they come in the door, that this is what's expected of you. We have to respect you as much as you respect us. And getting in an altercation, first of all, you are in a very tenuous situation where you just can't respond because you're not allowed to get into an argument. So thank you for your service to the community. Believe it or not, I do appreciate each and every one of you and what you do for us.
Good afternoon, Council. Mayor, my name is Lucas Hearn, and I'm a resident of District 2. Certainly glad to know that there are people here who support our freedom of speech as long as it agrees with them. And also, I'd like to address, speaking of the council's behavior, there were comments made after some of us spoke last time about that you wished that some of us would stick around after we spoke. Well, we wish you would hold these meetings when we weren't at work and having to take time off so that we could be here. Most of us have lives and jobs, and we have to take time off to be here to participate. So please forgive us that we can't stay and listen to you dribble on. Today, at just after 10 o'clock, unmarked, masked thugs kidnapped human beings off the street in Las Cruces at the corner of Montana and Solano. Under the auspices of a federal administration, of which there were some marked vehicles and some marked officers. Amongst them were also unmarked officers in unmarked cars with civilian New Mexico plates. I have pictures and videos. We should all be terrified. This is the behavior of fascists. It is the behavior of secret police. They would not answer our questions about what was happening to the people that they were detaining. They would not address us. They wouldn't even look us in the eyes. I don't know what else to say to that. It's happening all over the country. You think it's just happening, you see it on the news, you see it on social media. I have video, I was there because there are people in this community who care, and they called and they showed up when they saw their neighbors being harassed by masked, unmarked men, putting them in handcuffs and putting them in the back of cars that didn't have any definable markings. It happened in District 3. We may have political differences here, some of the people that come and speak, but if you think that's acceptable behavior, you really need to question what you think of when you think of representative democracy. Because to me, I can't think of anybody who would vote for that kind of behavior from any armed, quote-unquote, representative of the state, if that's what they were. That's what they claim to be. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go because I have to work. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, those watching online, I'm Lynn Moer. EPA's new lead and copper rule requires water authorities to manage and carry out replacement within 10 years of all lead piping. Property owners are required to bear the cost of replacement of this piping on their property. The city is required to bear the cost for city-owned piping. Funding from the federal government is available to help. It's been 3 months since we alerted you to significant deficiencies in the technique Las Cruces Utilities is using to determine the nature of pipes. This deficient technique is also the one the city is recommending that property owners use. It's been 2 months since we alerted you to huge gaps in the city's inventory map of piping and an enormous number of properties, currently 65%, that show no service lines at all. EPA requires that this map be complete and accurate, and for cities of 50,000 or greater, be posted online for citizens to be able to search, review, and rely upon regarding their own pipes. Citizens have recommended that an independent engineer be brought in to examine these issues to help Las Cruces utilities get on track. Despite these serious deficiencies in these recommendations, it appears that nothing has been done to address these problems. When analyzing why the city has done nothing to address these issues, a disturbing thought has emerged. What appears to be incompetence may also be intentional efforts to falsely minimize the true number of lead pipes. Perhaps this is upon instruction from upper management so that the city's cost for replacing lead pipes can be reduced. Public health be damned. Possibly by design, the overriding message of the November 18, 2024 Las Cruces Utilities briefing for the City Council was, no lead pipes have been found. A news report conveyed this message. A city councilor emphasized this message, both at the meeting and on a subsequent radio show. I commented to you soon thereafter that the city seemed to be trying to declare victory on lead pipe removal ridiculously early. The fact is, EPA required a complete inventory of all piping to be filed by October 16, 2024. EPA guidance recognized the nature of some piping might be unknown. The water authority should indicate when that was the case and work expeditiously to replace all the unknowns with the facts as soon as possible through competent investigation and verification. In contrast, EPA did not indicate it was permissible to omit altogether half the city's neighborhoods from the inventory. This is what Las Cruces Utilities' current inventory map appears to reflect. More than half of the city's elementary schools and middle schools have been omitted, for example. It's a lot easier to boast no lead pipes when the city is ignoring half the city's pipes. It's also easier to claim no lead pipes when you use a deficient technique to determine whether a pipe is lead or not. Please engage at least one independent engineer to comprehensively evaluate Las Cruces Utilities' work on implementing the rule and publicize all recommendations. Thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Mayor and Council, I'm Liz Rodriguez Johnson. Over the past 4 months, citizens have brought numerous problems to the city's attention with respect to compliance with EPA's new lead and copper rule. Unfortunately, there is no evidence that a single one of the problems has been adequately rectified. Here is a brief list of some of the issues that have been brought to your attention, additional to those just mentioned. Do property owners need to have their water tested to determine if we have lead in our water? The city's notification letter is not clear on that point. Where is the map showing all the city-owned piping? In the map that is available, piping is frequently mischaracterized based on date. Pipes that were installed prior to 1986 lead ban are characterized as non-lead, based on installation after the lead ban. The designations of piping as known or non-lead on the inventory map are not necessarily true. The map misleadingly characterizes an entire line as non-lead with a green dot, when, in reality, at least one portion, either the system-owned or customer-owned, is unknown. A property owner who believes the green dot, thinks their line is non-lead, and checks no further, could have a very nasty surprise. The inventory indicates that some, but very little verification of its characterizations of piping has occurred. Some callers have been falsely told that no financial help is available for lead pipe replacement. This is despite the fact that financial help is available from the federal government. The fact is the rule requires that financial help be available, and the city's notification letter says financial help is available. Now, even if the current administration gets rid of the EPA, this issue is not going to go away. Dealing with a potential health hazard to the city of Las Cruces goes beyond a government regulation. Protecting the people in this community is a responsibility you signed up for when you ran for this job. The concerns I just reiterated are clearly documented, not just in this public participation, but in numerous previous others. So it's very clear all of you are aware of this issue. All of you are tied to this issue morally and politically. You need to have an experienced engineer with management experience deal with these potentially life-threatening issues systematically and comprehensively. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Britney Gillingham, and I come to you as a community member and a concerned parent. In October, we were promised that there were going to be park rangers put over at Young Park. I haven't heard any update on that. I know that there's funding available. That was October. It's now April. That's 6 months. I don't think that there's enough for the kids to do here in Las Cruces. Sorry, I'm extremely nervous. I noticed that the skate park is still closed, and it's been nearly a year that construction has started on the skate park. While I haven't seen any progress on the skate park, I did see a brand new fence that was put up at Mareshai Rec Center for the volleyball courts just actually last week. So I'm kind of confused as to why there's no progression on the skate park, but there's progression on other things. I know that there's a rec center and aquatic centers, and the city has tried to keep the cost low for parents like myself. But I know there's a lot of parents out there that can't even afford the $3 or the $4 for themselves and $3 per child. For me and my children to go to the aquatic center, it comes to $10. And that might not seem like a lot to a lot of people, but to me as a single parent on one income, that's a lot of money. I think that possibly trying to work in like a SNAP discount or doing like a discounted membership to these things would be absolutely helpful. There's also the Community Boxing Center off Solano. I don't know if there's a lot of people that know about this space, but it's a great place for kids that have no outlet and have very hard lives at home. I think it's a great place for them to go and to be able to get out, you know, certain aggressions and things. I know that I would love to see like another skating rink or do skate meetups like they do in El Paso, or a free community center. I know that money has to come from somewhere, but I know that there's grants, scholarships, and even fundraisers available that we could do to provide these things for children in our community, because our children are our future, and if we're not looking into them now, you know, we have to look and see that there's going to be hope. I want to see change in our community just as much as you do, but it starts with us, the people. And what can we do to move forward? What can we do to make a change? How can we make Las Cruces as a whole better, to be a happier community? I reside on Young Park. My apartment sits on Young Park. And to be in that neighborhood, it's very hard and it's very tragic what happened. But as a community member and someone that sits right there, I can't even fathom taking my children over to that park anymore. So it's not anything against the police department or anybody. I think it's as a community, we all need to work together to make Las Cruces better, not only for people, but parents, and especially for the children here. The children, the children, the children.
Ma'am, if you if you turn around, the gentleman in the blue suit with the yellow, he's our parks director.
Okay.
He can answer some of those questions on the skate park, and anything that's left unanswered, the city manager is happy to answer.
Okay, thank you. I had so much more, but obviously, you know, like I said, just do it for the kids. Come on, we got
Yes.
this for Las Cruces.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor. My name's Stephen Jaramillo. I'm a lifelong resident here in Las Cruces for the past 63 years. I'm a retired Air Force veteran. We live in the inner city, and I love Las Cruces. I could never imagine living anywhere else, even though I've been all over the country. many of the different cities. And the last 5 years, me and my wife have started bicycling around the city and using a lot of the city bicycle trails. And they're very helpful to keep us out of the inner city and the streets. But one thing that I'm concerned about is the e-bikers that use the same bicycle trails, because we paddle, we ride our normal bicycles, and we do 25 miles every other day around the city. And we leave from our home on Kansas and Solano, and then we ride up through Young Park and go up through the Traverse Trail down Nevada. And I told Parks and Recreation maybe 3 or 4 years ago in city streets about the problem trying to cross there at Nevada across Traverse into the bicycle trail, because the city has the bicycle trail that dead ends at Traverse, but yet there's no flashing signals. I've videotaped people, younger kids riding their bicycles, nearly getting hit there at Traverse and Nevada. Also, there's an area off Solano where they don't put any crosswalks off Colorado and Solano, and a lady got killed there last year because there are not enough crosswalks on Solano for the inner city people that live there. Again, I've informed streets. They told me they were going to do some more work at Yorona Park. And the Yorona Park Trail is completely falling apart from like North Air Bridge all the way to Mayfield. And I guess maybe their solution was to spray paint the bumps on the entire trail, but I was told 3 or 4 years ago there was funding to repave it and maybe stripe it. And that's another issue. I've been on bike trails all over the country, and normally they're striped and people know to ride their bicycles on the left or right side. And if e-bikers are passing, at least they know, to warn the people in front. Anyway, then there at Spruce, there's a crosswalk on Spruce that they did stripe a year or so ago, but it's completely blacked out. And the same on Missouri and Traverse, you can't see the crosswalks. So my concern was if they could maybe look into those areas a little more. One dangerous area by Mayfield where we cross our bikes across Valley Drive, there's no flashing lights or anything, and we've witnessed people actually get hit there on Valley Drive. So my concerns are for the bicycle trails and crosswalks. So, matter of fact, I sent you an email, Mayor, and I think I didn't get a response back, though. So that's why I showed up to the council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Mayor, Council, Juan Garcia. The Regional Aquatic Center staff deserve recognition for their exceptional service. As a senior with diabetes, I found exactly what I needed here. The facility offers great exercise equipment, different exercise options, and the staff maintains it well. They're always friendly and provide flexible payment options, including a senior rate of just $1 per visit with no contract required. Thank you, Mr. Bingham, Mr. Ikani, for making fitness accessible and welcoming, and perhaps something can be done to help the kids, for the speaker that just came before me. Moving on, the facade of political hypocrisy has crumbled once again before my eyes during 4 years as a community advocate, revealing a disturbing pattern of selective outrage and calculated silence. Nothing illustrates this more than the most tragic case of Rachel Moran, a mother of 5 whose life was brutally stolen on a summer trail in Maryland. Her death at the hands of an illegal immigrant was met with deafening silence from the very leaders sworn to protect their constituents. Senator Van Hollen's office buzzed with activity championing the return of the, quote, Maryland father, while Moran's name never crossed his lips in any official capacity. The same haunting silence echoes in New Mexico, where Representative Vasquez found tears for the, quote, Maryland father, while their own community's safety deteriorates under his watch and crimes rate climb. How telling that our local and state progressive leaders turn a blind eye to law-abiding citizens, yet rush to coddle those who loot and burn their dreams to ash. Hardworking citizens, many of them women of color, living in poverty, ask only for protection, for basic dignity. Instead, they watch their life's work crumble while the very people claiming to champion social justice cheer on their destruction. The recent aggravated assault on a peace officer with a deadly weapon was just dismissed by Judge Driggers with no explanation. The shameful attempt by one of our counselors to rationalize the Young Park massacre through excuses about poverty, race, and age only served to dishonor the victims and enable future violence. Such misguided apologism has no place in our discourse about this atrocious act, yet it continues. So, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, when will you finally demand real action? The time for empty words is over. Demand strong deterrence. Deterrence be reflected in your message to the governor and state legislators. And we will continue to support Chief Story and the LCPD officers. Thank you.
Good afternoon, City Council, Mayor. My name's Eddie Thomas. First of all, I'd like to start by addressing Chief Story and the way that he was impugned. His reputation was impugned the last time we had a City Council meeting by somebody that got up to speak. I, for one, support Chief Story, and my money is on him. As far as his authority to carry a pistol in these chambers makes me feel safer, rather than the person that got up and made those comments against him. Next thing I'd like to speak about is myself and my fellow petition seekers that were seeking signatures on a petition I'm sure you all are aware of. Have been impugned also. We've been labeled as people that are against low-income housing. Let me reassure you all, nothing could be further from the truth. We are not against low-income people. We are not against low-income housing. What we're seeking is a redress of the way the city code treats the established residential areas, moving in commercial entities that is just not fair to the people that purchased homes there. Furthermore, I just don't think that the City Council has been very effective with their delegation that gets sent to Santa Fe to advocate on our behalf. This legislative session, about the very few things that were produced were, among a few, were a law that addresses the red flag law that takes away arms from citizens. I would like to see that law used to take away the arms from the juvenile gangs that seem to be predominant here in Las Cruces, hopefully avoiding another situation like what happened in Young Park. So, at the very least, this delegation was ineffective, and at the very worst, it was a total failure. I would ask that you all address this and do something about the competency law that seems to have not changed one bit during this legislative session. Please do something about the safety factor here in our public parks. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Julia Ruiz. In New Mexico, it is not known exactly how many babies are abandoned each year. The safe haven for infants, law shields parents from criminal prosecution when they choose to leave infants at safe havens instead of a dumpster or an unknown area to be found later and many times too late. I would like to bring to your attention the fact that we are missing in the city an invaluable means of safely assisting a parent in crisis and saving a child, the Safe Haven Baby Box. The Safe Haven Baby Box is a safe, legal, and compassionate option for parents in crisis who are unable to care for their infant. The Safe Haven Baby Box is used as a means for the parent to surrender their infant anonymously. The Safe Haven Baby Box is fully compliant with state laws. These boxes are equipped with advanced safety features to protect the baby and allow medical personnel to retrieve them quickly. The boxes provide a safe and legal way to surrender an infant, ensuring the well-being of the parent and the safety of the child. As of today, Española, Hobbs, Belen, and Carlsbad have installed baby boxes, and this weekend, Hobbs will have its fourth, which has a fourth of the population of Las Cruces, will have its third Safe Haven Baby Box. There have been 3 babies surrendered safely in Hobbs now. I have been working with Española's Assistant Chief Fire Chief, John Wickersham, and Monica Kelsey, the founder of the Safe Haven Baby Box, to bring the one here. Today, I bring information to the City Council to inform the City of Las Cruces how important it is to have a baby box available for parents in crisis. Ultimately, I would love to have 3 within Las Cruces and in Doña Ana County. I have spoken with several of you on the dais and have received very positive feedback and agree that having a baby box is a critical tool for helping parents in crisis. I ask that you consider installing a baby box, as it is better to have one and not need it than to need one and not have one. I brought a pamphlet with all the information of the baby box, and I asked if I may leave it with the city clerk. As a point of contact, again, I am working with Assistant Fire Chief Wickersham and Ms. Kelsey, the founder of the baby box. I am asking that you work with me to continue towards the next step in making the Safe Haven Baby Box a reality in the city of Las Cruces for parents in crisis. New Mexico legislators have allocated $330,000 in support of the installation of the Safe Haven Baby Boxes throughout the state. I will be leaving my contact information along with the information packet, and please feel free to contact me with any questions or concerns you may have. Thank you for your time and attention.
All right, thank you. And you can leave the documents with the clerk. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Winterrode, and I came today hoping to be supportive of a proclamation for the National Day of Prayer. Apparently it is not being honored today, but I want to thank all of you in advance for your support on the National Day of Prayer, which is May 1st. There'll be different events going on around the city, and I pray that all of you who are believers will be a light to this community, and those who are not believers will see the light. I thank you in advance for any support that you can give the people that are going out that day. Thank you.
Thank you, City Council and Mayor. I'm Sarah Smith. I extend my condolences to the victims of the Young Park shooting. Several of you have said you want to find solutions to the youth crime and violence problem. For thousands of years, one of the most basic tenets of society has been, do not harm others or encroach on their property. One of the fundamental purposes of government is to uphold this law so that the society can function well. Here in Las Cruces and across New Mexico, we are seeing what happens when we do not uphold this principle. Parents should be teaching their kids from a young age that they cannot harm others, take other kids' toys, or damage the property of others. Once the kids go to school, this principle should be reinforced over and over again so that by the time the kids are adults, it has been ingrained. Once people are old enough to be held legally accountable, there must be consistent and sure enforcement of this law, no matter whether they are rich or poor, Hispanic or white, housed or homeless. This is literally the overarching principle that allows society to continue to survive. There have always been some parents who don't raise their kids well, but now schools are perpetuating the same cycle. I advocate for teachers and parents across the state, and they have shared that kids in schools are allowed to harm others with no real consequences. Kids are throwing chairs in the classroom, hitting other kids, throwing temper tantrums, and the teachers are not allowed to really stop it. For example, a Las Cruces mother related that in her daughter's class, one of the kids has violent temper tantrums. Instead of imposing consequences to help this child learn proper behavior, the teacher takes the rest of the kids out of the class and allows the child to trash the classroom. Year after year, all of these kids are learning that there are no consequences to hurting others and that no one will stop a kid who chooses to hurt others, steal, or destroy. By the time kids reach their teen years, the behaviors have escalated to fighting, doing drugs, shoplifting, stealing cars and guns, and shooting others. With New Mexico's lax juvenile crime laws and catch and release policies, these kids are ripe for getting involved with organized criminal gangs and cartels who know that youths can break the law with very little consequence in New Mexico. We now have many kids growing up with no respect for the most basic laws of society, and thus we have high rates of juvenile crime with tragic consequences, like what happened at Young Park. City councilors, I appreciate that you want to find solutions. Recreational activities for kids are important, and I hope the schools will own their responsibility to teach kids self-control and respect for rules. For you as council, I hope you see that your paramount role is to ensure we have good laws, that the laws are applied equally to everyone, that we have enough police officers to keep our community safe, and that there are sure consequences for those who break the law. Our state legislature refused to tighten up our juvenile crime laws, so I hope you will take action here in Las Cruces instead, such as imposing a curfew for teens and holding both the teens and parents accountable. You can also greatly increase the salaries of our police officers in the upcoming union negotiations so that Chief Story will be able to better attract and retain officers. As a body, if you decide you will no longer tolerate people harming others, breaking into and destroying our homes and businesses, you can make a big difference. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, Steve Coletti, resident of Las Cruces. 2024, wow, what a year. The year the Amish saved the Republic. I'm not sure the state of your fantastical democracy, but the Republic is alive and well. I bring this up for a reason, but I'll get back to that in a minute. Peter Goodman recently conducted an interview on his radio show with your Chris Favor regarding Realize Las Cruces. I found it interesting Mr. Favor's main argument for Realize was to improve the quality of life, quote, image Las Cruces has. I'm curious how much this ordinance does to improve that image for the amount of effort the City Council is fighting for it. But let's assume you're right and it does improve that image. Let's assign it a 5 on a scale of 100. Now returning to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where my mother lives among the Amish. I received a call from her on that dark Saturday morning in a panic where she awoke to reports of the cartel shooting in Young Park. She called to verify that my family and I were well. While I was still on the phone, my mother-in-law called from eastern Kansas with the same question. Now, before you go off on me about the cartel reference, remember we're talking about image, and that is how this is being perceived, if not reported, outside of New Mexico. I can assure you, neither my mother-in-law nor my mother have ever heard of Realize Las Cruces, but they're now more scared than ever for the safety of their grandchildren. Back to that 100-point scale of image. If Realize Las Cruces is worth 5 points, how much of a hit did this tragedy leave? Maybe a negative 500 points? Yet you, our city council, fighting so hard for Realize, have done little to nothing to address public safety in Las Cruces, except point your fingers at Santa Fe and say it's their fault and there's nothing you can do. When given the opportunity to address our state delegation with our concerns, you chose animal welfare as our #1 priority. And I don't recall any dogs being shot at Young Park. Is the Young Park massacre enough for you to start taking your oaths of office seriously? Or do we need to wait until one of your loved ones is hurt for you to act? Mr. Mayor, your honeymoon period is over. You own this one. It's time for you to stop collecting data and lead this council into action. No one cares about your tireless work unless it produces positive results. And this council, just like many before it, have little in the way of positive results, especially when it comes to public safety. We want action. It's time to leave your activist roles and start being the leaders that you're elected to be for the entire Las Cruces community. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. My name's Jim Hurst. So I want to inform you of an event, National Day of Reason at Las Cruces City Hall, Thursday, May 1st, 12 noon. Join us to celebrate reason and demonstrate to our local government that there are many citizens who care about the principle of separation of church and state as defined by Thomas Jefferson. Logic and rational thinking are the center of the modern Western democracies. Unfortunately, not all Americans understand our Constitution as our founders intended. So we observe this day to reaffirm the American desire to leave the Dark Ages and absolutist governments behind in the old world. We founded our government independent of religion and based on common sense. The uniqueness of the United States of America is in its inclusion of every kind of person, race, culture, religion, and non-religious beliefs in this very diverse country. Reason and our history testifies that a pluribus unum is not only possible, but desirable. Please join us and consider with us the blessings of reason, science, and equality in this great land and how it can be preserved. This event is not sponsored by the city, and all are welcome. And I want to say on other comments, the safest people in this country are illegal aliens. They are the least likely to commit crimes because they want to stay here. And that's pretty simple. And it's very easy to vilify a few, to highlight the actions of a few to vilify many. Certainly, there are illegal aliens who have committed horrible crimes in America, but they are far less likely than an ordinary American to commit a crime. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Parrott. I'm a resident of District 6. I wanted to thank the organ donation people for their work because of cooperation between people in New Mexico and Colorado. My son's still alive today. He received 2 major organs in 1 week in February of 2022, and he's doing well. I also want to thank the emergency workers, all of them in our city, our police department, our fire departments, our emergency call takers. Every time I hear a siren when I'm in the house or out in public, and I hear a siren, I immediately say a prayer and hope that people that have the siren on will arrive where they need to be safely, and that the people that they are going to be helped will be helped. I also want to highlight the fact that at Saturday, from 4 to 8:30 at Young Park will be the first event of the National Day of Prayer other than the proclamations. And I can't think of a better use of that park than for people of this city to come together and pray there for this city. Anybody that would like to know the information, the website is nationaldayofprayer.org. And I also have one Bible verse that I would like to take the liberty of reading while I still can, because I will always do that. It's Luke 19:39 through 41. Some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, rebuke your disciples." "I tell you," he replied, "if they keep quiet, the stones will cry out." As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it. Thank you, and God bless.
Mayor, members of the council, my name is Bill McCamley. I live at the corner of Cayeta, Sueños, and Locust in District 3. Had that house for over 20 years. Was away from Las Cruces for about 5 years, but recently moved back to town. And one of the first things that I got in the mail was this public notice saying that someone 2 blocks away from me wanted to put a house in a single-family yard in the back there. And then I heard that you all just made recent changes to land use policy, allowing for more density, more mother-in-law houses, situations like these apartments. And I wanted to tell you exactly how I feel about that. I feel great. This is an amazing thing that you all did to move this community forward. And there's 3 main reasons for this. The first is young people can't get housing in the United States. This is not a Las Cruces problem, a New Mexico problem. It's an America problem. And the more opportunity young folks have to be able to get a decent place to live, to buy a house, the better we all are off because of it. So thank you for making this town more affordable with your actions. Secondly, you all know, because you do this all the time, how much more efficient it is to put internet, water, roads, everything to houses when they are closer together. More density in responsible ways is better for all of us because it creates, again, more affordability with better services. Third thing, climate change is real. You know, when I was a student at Mayfield, back when Coach Maya was just starting off in the mid-90s, I rode my bike to school from my folks' house up on North Valley. And I remember 3, maybe 4 days out of the year were really strong windstorms where I didn't feel safe on the bike coming across from the west. We had 3 days last week where you couldn't see more than about 30, 40 feet in front of your face because of the wind and the dirt. This is real. And one of the best ways that we all as communities can contribute to less greenhouse gases is with more efficient, denser homes closer together. So I say to you, yes, in my backyard. Please keep up the great work for those of you that voted for this, and I want to close by just saying one thing. Back when I was a county commissioner, when Councilmember Matisse was mayor the first time, the only time I lost it was I was chairing a joint city-county zoning commission. And a guy wanted to put in a bunch of condos on South Main. And all the neighbors showed up, and you heard the stories about we're worried about roads, we're worried about schools, we're worried about those sorts of things. But then one person said the quiet part out loud. She said, I don't want those people living next to me. And I got pretty angry because that was my income demographic. I'm those people. So as a representative of those people, the teachers, the firefighters, the janitors, the workers at the grocery store who want to live affordably near their jobs, thank you. We appreciate you, and keep up the good work. Thank you all very much.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, Chief of Police, Tim Jenkins here. I would like to address the elephant in the room from the comments at the last City Council meeting concerning our Chief of Police being on his phone during time here in council chambers. For the record, I would like to make it crystal clear to everyone that while our Chief of Police sits here in council chambers helping support us, he also is single-handedly managing and running our entire police department force as well. And comments and rhetoric from members on City Council and public as well about our police department needing more oversight are highly offensive. And unless you are willing to pick up a badge and protect and serve and take a chance at never coming home to your family, I suggest you stop criticizing those who do and be thankful for their service and look for ways to encourage and support them in every way possible. As for me and my family, we back the blue every day, all day. Thank you.
Mayor, City Council, did you miss me? I know it's been a while. I haven't bothered you for a while. I wanted to congratulate Christine. Unfortunately, she works with me a lot. Not as much as you could, but I really appreciate you.
If you could state your name.
Oh, Donna Stryker. I'm so sorry. Christine, thank you. You're amazing, and your staff is amazing, and I really, really appreciate you. And Annette. Annette is, I had to call her on a Sunday from Mayor's Top Teens, and her and Connie really came through, and it was an amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I'd like to Thank you, Chief Story, for your continued professionalism and your leadership during the last 16 months, which I think has been very difficult for everybody on the dais and the city's citizens and the county citizens. It's been a very difficult time. I watched the ugliness of April 7th meeting, and I was so sad. It's another commentary on some of our citizenry, and I do believe in the First Amendment, but I don't think you have to be ugly. I really appreciate the public participation statement. Thank you so much for doing that. I don't think people really understand that cities are not required to do public comment. I did a lot of research on it when I started speaking, and cities are not required to, and there are cities in this state that have done away with public comment. So I think we need to appreciate it and say, thank you, City Council. I appreciate you letting us speak, even though we don't always say what you'd like us to say. But I, for one, really appreciate that you continue to allow us to have it. My son-in-law is a LCPD police officer, and he had Easter dinner with us yesterday. Ben can't always be with us, and I really appreciate he would be so mad at me for being here. He's gonna be mad, I'm gonna hear about it, but he is just the microcosm of the macrocosm. There isn't very many people who can take the application, do the psychological, do the fingerprint background check, go through everything that it takes to be a police officer, but there's a lot of people who can poke fun and poke fingers, and I think it is really just criminal that they are allowed to do that, because until you walk a mile in another person's shoes, you cannot criticize and say what goes through their mind and the immediacy of the decisions that they have to make in a bad situation. So I want to thank you, Chief. I want to thank you also and welcome our new Chief of the Fire Department. Thank you so much for your selfless service, because everybody that serves our fire department and our police department are selfless. I can't thank you guys enough, because Tim said it. Not everybody gets to go home, and we saw that last year. Thank you.
Next is the acceptance of agenda.
So moved by Flores.
Second, Corin.
This is on the motion to accept the agenda as presented. Councillor McClure?
Yes.
Councillor Matisse?
Yes.
Councillor Graham?
Yes.
Councillor Cran?
Yes.
Councillor Flores?
Yes.
Councillor Bencomo is absent, and Mayor.
Yes. So next on the agenda is resolutions and ordinance for discussion. 7.1, resolution number 25-120, a resolution to enter into a contract with Route Policy Research of Denver, Colorado.
Move to approve, Graham. Second, Corin.
Lisa?
Good afternoon, Mayor, councilors, and city staff. Lisa Padron, Purchasing Specialist 2 for the Purchasing Section of Finance. Before you is a resolution to authorize a contract for the HUD 5-Year Consolidated Plan and Affordable Housing Plan. The City of Las Cruces is a U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development designated entitlement community for the Community Development Block Grant Program and designated participating jurisdiction for the Home Investment Partnership Program. The city must submit a consolidated plan and an analysis of impediments to fair housing choice every 3 to 5 years. The request for proposal number 24-25-038 was issued on December 20th, 2024, with the due date of January 16th, 2025. 2 proposals were received. The Selection Advisory Committee evaluated the proposals on February 12th, 2025. The SAC recommended to award a contract to Route Policy Research of Denver, Colorado. The contract term is through June 30th, 2026. The contract award amount is not to exceed $131,000 plus applicable taxes subject to approved budget appropriations. And with that, here are your standard council options, and I stand for questions.
Thank you, Lisa. Any questions? Seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-120. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is item 7.2, Resolution 25-121, a resolution to award contracts for landscape architectural design services as needed.
Move to approve, Corn.
Second.
And Lisa again.
Good afternoon, Mayor, councilors, and city staff. Lisa Padron, Purchasing Specialist 2 for the Purchasing Section of Finance. Before you is a resolution to authorize contracts for landscape architectural design services. Parks and Recreation is responsible for providing a vast array of public services, including but not limited to community and neighborhood parks, athletic fields, sports courts, trails, medians, and other rights-of-way landscape improvements, park renovations, aquatic play features, playgrounds, and irrigation systems. Parks requires services from landscape architectural firms to complete the following tasks. They include, but are not limited to, planning and design of new and renovations of existing community and neighborhood parks, concept preparation and presentations with graphics, project management, and construction administration. The request for proposal number 24-25-003 was issued on August 30th, 2024, with a due date of September 26, 2024. 4 proposals were received. The Selection Advisory Committee evaluated the proposals on December 18, 2024. SAC recommended to award contracts to Molson Corbin and Associates and Stantec Consulting Services, Inc., both of Las Cruces, New Mexico, and Site Southwest of Las Cruces, Site Southwest LLC of Albuquerque, New Mexico. The contract term is for 5 years. The contract award amount is not to exceed $2 million per vendor annually, subject to budget appropriations. And with that, here are your standard council options, and I stand for questions.
Councilor Flores?
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you so much, Ms. Padron. So it's a 5-year contract, and it's for different vendors or just Molson Corbin?
3, Molson Corbin, Site Southwest, and Stantec Consulting.
Okay. And then how do they go about assessing what they're going to do? And how much is the $5 million? Did you say, what is the amount?
$2 million per vendor annually.
Okay, so, and how many vendors are there? 3?
3.
So it's $6 million, okay.
Yes.
My concern is that, and there's nothing personal or anything, I don't mean to malign Molson Corbin, but my concern is that it's 5 years, and then they're going to do projects. Do they come back to you, to your department, to the city, to say we're going to do this, that, or the other? And I'm just wondering about how that money's going to be spent, when it's going to be spent, and where, and who makes the decision, the ultimate decision.
Mayor, Councilor Flores, I'm going to defer to the Parks and Recreation staff present. Stephen was here.
He was here, but he went out with a
now?
lady.
Yes.
I don't know, I don't feel comfortable with this at all. Just-
I'm sorry, Donnie, before, let's see if Assistant City Manager, J.C. Borrego.
Yeah, so the way I understand it is that Parks, oh, okay.
Go ahead, J.C. anyway. If you don't want to.
Did you hear the question, Steve, or should I?
Sorry, I did not.
You did not. Okay, I'm
apologize.
concerned about, what are we on? Resolution 25-120? And that's the 5-year contract to allow contractors to, what is it?
Architectural work.
Yeah, it's $2 million annually architectural. And I'm just concerned that, my question is, who does the oversight? Who do they go to? How is that money allocated? Apparently, there's 2 more besides Molson, right?
Yes, Councilor Flores, Steve Bain, Parks and Rec Director. I asked that our team put together an RFP to get architectural services so that we could speed up the process of being able to plan parks and recreation projects and to put it on call like we do with engineers. And the RFP allows for up to $2 million in any given year. There are, I believe, 3 different architectural firms that were selected, and it's based on budget. And so if there's not funding for this approved by City Council in the budget, then you wouldn't spend it. This is just simply an on-call.
Yeah, and I understand that part very well. The part that I'm dazed and confused, for lack of a better word, is how exactly is a decision made as to where, when, how much is going to be allocated to that particular, where's the oversight? And where's a plan in terms of how you're going to approach this?
So the oversight is that it went through the purchasing process that's identified in the city's purchasing ordinances, and we will select the architectural company that best fits the project.
And how are you going to be reporting to the city manager, to the city council, to the people of the city, how things are going? And it's just that, we've had people, especially parks, you are with that one constituent, and things, have been moving slower than molasses on a cold day in January. And I guess I'm feeling anxious about expediting things or having, just start happening. So how is this going to be approached? Have you already assessed which areas are going to be targeted first? And is there going to be reporting to the city manager about that, or to us and the public?
So all of these projects that will be used for these architects are ones that have already been approved on the capital improvement program. There's been budget authorized through the budgeting process, and the funding has been made available. And so these projects are ones that have already been identified, authorized, and approved.
Okay. You know what would be, what I would ask, and I don't want to overstep anybody's role here, in terms of the mayor and the city manager and the department heads, including you, Steve, is it would be good to have progressive communication with the public in terms of just letting the public know. Because we heard from several people today about the parks, and we all know that parks are instrumental. I mean, my kids grew up in Los Angeles, and the park systems there, the system is wonderful. We have the soccer fields, we have the swimming pools, we had all, and I'm not saying that, everybody's happy and all the kids turned out to be, law-abiding citizens, but I'm just saying that things are just there has to be more, what's the word, transparency in terms of letting the people know, the residents know that this is happening, this is where we're going with this, and then reach those goals, and then enumerate them, and let people know that we're not just, verbalizing things and doing nothing. Thank you.
Councilor Flores, appreciate the feedback, and we will continually update the public through our website, social media, through city council meetings, and that. We do have projects that are moving forward. We've significantly increased the amount of money for projects and the speed at which projects have been getting done over the last year. So
See, it would be wonderful if all of that was publicized and, instead of, and I'm not saying instead of, but just to get enough publicity when there's a tragedy, as we've had at Young Park. I mean, there's no ending to it, So, yeah. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Flores. Anyone else? Seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-121. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Next is item 7.3, resolution number 25-122, a resolution approving the Roadrunner Transit Triennial Title VI Program Update.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second, and welcome, Director.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome, Richard, and congratulations on your new position as Director of Transit. And gotta love the tie, right?
I brought it.
That's from Mike, right?
Yes.
Nice.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Richard Hanway, Transit Director for the record. Today we're going to discuss the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It protects from discrimination based on race, color, and national origin for programs and activities that receive federal funding, which we do. There are 4 different compliance requirements that Roadrunner Transit has to follow. Besides Title VI, there's the American with Disabilities Act, Equal Employment Opportunity, and Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. What are the transit agency requirements? We are required to have a written plan ensuring that anyone can access federally funded transit services without discrimination based on race, color, or national origin. We have to ensure that anybody can have access to the transit planning process without discrimination, and the plan needs to be updated every 3 years. The guidance that we have with FTA is in Circular 4702.1B. What has changed in this update? There hasn't been any changes since the last update in 2022, which is a good thing. There are 9 required elements in the Title VI plan. The first element is a notice to the public. This is a notice that will show how they can contact us, whether it's the EEO ADA coordinator who does the investigations. Their phone number is listed on here, so is the transit number. And there's also contact information to Civil Rights Department at Federal Transit Administration. This is also done in English and in Spanish. Element number 2 is the complaint procedure. Our plan is consistent with the city's EEO complaint procedures. A complainant has 180 days to file a discrimination complaint. The city's EEO ADA coordinator investigates these complaints. They must acknowledge to the complainant within 5 days that they received the complaint. They have to advise the FTA of the complaint within 10 days. They have 45 days to investigate and provide a report to the city attorney. The attorney then has 14 days to review and issue a determination, and the city manager then has 5 days to direct action on determination. Element number 3 is a complaint form. We must have a complaint form in the policy, and the form is in both English and in Spanish. Element number 4, the complaints have to be updated for the last 3 years. And again, I'm proud to say that there were no Title VI complaints since 2022. There actually was no complaints in the previous one from 2019 as well. The 5th element is comment and participation. We have to ensure that people can access our services, so we have the bus schedules in both English and Spanish for the community. We provide Spanish interpretation services upon request. Certain staff positions require bilingual employees, so our customer service reps are bilingual, as well as our dispatchers for dial-a-ride. Google Translate is also on the city's webpage for anybody that needs translation services to access our webpage. And planning meetings follow the Mesilla Valley MPO public participation plan. The 6th element is the limited English proficiency. We have to do census data, community survey data that we look through for the urbanized area here in Las Cruces and the surrounding area to identify people that speak different languages. And what we found every time we update the plan is that there's English speaking and Spanish speaking is who we need to provide our services to. So we also have representation on appointed boards. We have a transit advisory board of 7 members. 75% are considered white, non-Latino, and 29% are Latino. And the demographics for white in Las Cruces is 34%, Latino is 60%. Element number 8 is our service standards. Basically, this is saying that we have to choose vehicles that are going to be able to serve the public in the best appropriate way. So it kind of determines the size of the vehicles that we're going to be looking for to purchase. Our current buses now, they're 30-foot buses, and they have seating of about 32 seats in them, but there's also standing room only, so we have to equip them with stanchions and for access for people to be able to stand safely in there. Vehicle headway, routes 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8 are on a 60-minute headway. Basically, that means that it departs the terminal, our intermodal terminal, and it'll be back within an hour. Routes 2 and 5 have 30-minute service. Aggie 1 has a 10-minute service, and Aggie 2 has a 20-minute service. Our on-time performance targets are basically we strive to have 90% on time, which is making sure that we're not leaving more than 5 minutes late from any stop. And currently our service availability is, our distance between bus stops is approximately 1/3 of a mile in between each one. So if you're traveling in between the bus stop, you wouldn't walk more than 1/6 of a mile either way to get to a bus stop if you're in the middle. And element number 9 is service policies. Vehicles assigned to routes based on availability. Now that we have electric buses, we make sure that we rotate them on all routes so all the community has access to the newer technology. And we're not just putting them on certain routes and to discriminate against other areas of the city. We make sure that we rotate all the buses so everybody has access to them. Siting of the bus shelters. Sites are first prioritized by the number of boardings. We try to use the higher used stops to try to put a bus shelter there, but we do have limitations. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that we've had right-of-way issues. There's physical barriers, ADA accessibility. We do follow the ADA plan that the city's doing for improvements that they're doing for ADA accessibility, and we're constantly looking for new areas to put up shelters. And just installation for shelters, the cost of acquiring them and installing them are roughly $17,000 and upwards. And your options for councils is on the screen. I'll stand for questions.
All right, thank you, Richard. Councilor Curran.
Thank you. I don't have a ton of questions, except this is one of the most powerful and interesting analyses that I feel like I've ever learned about on City Council, and I really appreciate you coming and talking about it in this context. I do want to point out I serve on the Transit Advisory Board, and the folks who are there are really committed and caring about transit, but it is parallel to many of our city boards where white folks outnumber folks of color. And I do think that's notable when we talk about having any kind of community board. What are the inputs that we have? And I do think you're one of the few, this is one of the few required reports where we actually consider that as a very serious consideration. And so I appreciate you talking about that, which I know is probably not easy for anyone to talk about. And also, I know this is your first presentation to us as a bunch of meanies, as we are. So don't be nervous. You did a really good job. We got you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for this presentation. So that's it.
Thank you. Councilor Flores.
Thank you. Okay, I'm not going to be mean. I'm not a meanie. I mean what I say, but I'm not being mean about it. So, Richard, this is an ADA requirement, so the funding comes from the federal government?
So this is a FTA requirement. The Federal Transit Administration requires us to have civil rights.
The FTA?
Yeah.
But that's federal?
Yes, it's federal
excuse
funding.
me, compliance with a federal...
Yes.
Yeah.
Since we receive, Councilor Flores, since we receive federal funds,
Yes.
we have to follow the compliance rules under civil rights.
Okay. I think that I have to explain, because if my colleague here thought I was being mean before, just wait till I know. Seriously, I think that, there's things happening in Washington, D.C. that are horrific, and a lot of actions have been, just right and left, slashing programs and all that. And so I'm concerned about, I'm concerned about all of that. That's all. And but the funding is federal, and I'm just well. Anyway, that's something to keep in mind. There's kind of a storm coming. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thanks. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-122. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next is item 7.4, resolution number 25-123, a resolution authorizing the City of Las Cruces to accept third quarter budget adjustments.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second.
Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, staff, and public. My name is Vanessa Perez, one of your budget analysts, and I am here today to bring forth a resolution to accept various internal budget adjustments. Before we dive into the overview of the budget adjustments, I'd like to share a few key reminders. The adjustments presented today primarily focus on updating available balances within our current budget. And the following slides will only provide a summary of the requested adjustments, but for those interested in more detailed information, you can refer to your packets. On screen, you'll see the general fund highlights for this quarter. The Public Works Department is requesting about $22,000, and this is for a pilot program for traffic calming measures, such as speed cushions at various locations. The first locations will be in Canyon Point. The Quality of Life Department is receiving a total of $22,000 in revenue, $19,000 of which are being collected from the museum's education program, and the remaining $3,000 from senior recreation programs and activities. Lastly, we are transferring out $562,000 from the general fund, and this is to cover a debt service payment for the recently acquired $18 million bond. Based on the adjustments on your screen, the general fund expenditures total close to about $585,000. All three rows of adjustments on your screen are related to that $18 million bond that I just mentioned. We are transferring in $562,000 from the general fund, and this is to cover the principal and interest payments for fiscal year 2025. The $433,000 adjustment on the second row is the application of that transfer, and due to differences between our fiscal year, the lender's fiscal year, and the provided amortization schedule, those amounts will not match. In the liability claims fund, we are requesting a budget increase of $254,000, and this is to cover the issuance cost of that same $18 million bond. Before you are your council options, and I stand for questions.
Thank you, Vanessa. Any questions? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have a question for Public Works for David. As you make your way down, David, I just, if you can just say a little bit more about this pilot program, and then also, given the cost of this expenditure, what that means for the budget for traffic calming measures at this point.
Thank you, Vanessa. Mayor Pro Tem Bencomo, David Cedillo, Public Works Director for the record. To answer your question, this is a pilot program that we're looking to do on traffic studies that are real close but don't actually meet the thresholds for having a permanent installation. We get these complaints, as you all are well aware, we get them throughout the years, different locations, different neighborhoods. So as part of this pilot program, what we're trying to do is do a temporary installation, temporary signage with some rubber or hard rubber items that get drilled into the asphalt and placed temporarily. That'll give us an opportunity to study those anywhere between 6 months to a year. With that data, if we see a great improvement, then we will remove those and put in a permanent installation, even though the initial study didn't show that. We want to see that great change, if you will, in behaviors. If not, if those aren't done, at least we said we've done something here to try to do something right now it doesn't meet. But the good thing about the temporary installations is now we can utilize those in other locations throughout the city. So we're not tied to just having something and leave it there for months and months or even years. We have the ability to study it, place it somewhere else, see the effects of those things. If it does help us, great, we'll do a permanent installation. If not, we will remove those and then move on to other locations. What it'll do to our budget is we will still have the studies to do, but again, this is to help look at a proactive way to help our citizens in our residential neighborhoods and look at those issues that they're seeing on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you, David. And I wanted to highlight this specifically because I think a lot of us do get questions about. I think we all have a long list of neighborhoods that wish they had some sort of traffic calming measures and studies. And I just think about, as we go into conversations regarding GRT and how to think about how we invest that in our community, I think this is one of the biggest places where we need to look. So thanks, David.
You're welcome.
Oh, sorry. Councilor McClure.
David, before you leave. Sorry. I had a similar question. Just curious, how was that street selected? What was kind of the markers for that?
So Mayor, Councilor McClure, the way we go about choosing those is recently we've looked at how many complaints we get in the area, how many times we've studied a roadway in the past. Typically, when we study those, we give it a gap in time until we study it again because traffic patterns do change. So we've seen that over a period of time, then that study isn't valid anymore. So based on some of those areas that have come up repeatedly, our staff is taking note of those, and that's how we'll go down through the list.
Okay, I'd like to petition for Griggs next. Can I do that? Woo, okay, thanks.
No, I want to petition for South Melendres.
Oh, do it. Thank you.
All right, here you go, Vanessa.
I think you're good. All right, Christine.
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-123. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is item 7.5, resolution number 25-124, resolution amending the FY 2025 through 2030 capital improvement program.
To approve.
Second by Flores.
Okay, good afternoon. Mayor, City Council, my name is Cynthia Lamillo, CIP Manager with Planning and Implementation. And today we're proposing a few capital improvement program amendments. There are going to be three types in this presentation. First, we have a couple of grants that were recently accepted. We have some amendments to make sure that we are reflecting the current available funds for each of the projects. And lastly, some allocation of funds. At the last City Council meeting of March 7, there were two grants that were recently accepted that have a capital component. So this amendment is to reflect those recently adopted funds into the CIP document. One is for Mesilla Valley Community of Hope, Campus Extension, Amador Crossing, and the second one is for Pioneer Women's Park improvement. Then at the department's request, we have several projects to make an amendment to their projects. We have 3 roof projects, Railroad Museum, Mershite, and Municipal Court, and the Facilities Department is requesting an amendment because they're currently working on those projects, and the quotes they receive for those projects are under the estimated amount for those projects. So that is the deduction you see in your slide. The funds that are being deducted will be reallocated to 2 other capital projects that will be presented in the next slide. On this slide, there's also a small adjustment for the transportation system modernization project, as there's an upcoming expenditure for that project. At the direction of city management, there is a proposed amendment of $500,000 from the Complete Street Projects Program to be placed under the Bataan Memorial at Rinconada project for the procurement of a traffic signal. And in the last slide, we mentioned that the remainder of the 3 roof projects are being allocated to 2 capital projects. These are the 2, one of them Bataan Memorial at Rinconada and Municipal Court Rehabilitation. So a portion to Bataan Memorial and the other portion, which is 155, to the Municipal Court Rehabilitation Project. But we have staff from both departments, facilities, and public work to provide more details on the use of the funds and the actual scope of work of the 2 projects. And I will start with Public Works.
Thank you, Cynthia. Mayor, Council, David Cedillo, Public Works for the record. And I want to go over today with you where that signal is going to be installed on Bataan Memorial, east and west, and at the intersection of Rinconada. On your screen, as you can see, here's an aerial of the location. This is Main Street or US 70. You have Rinconada that goes under the underpass, Bataan Memorial West, and Bataan Memorial East. As part of that signal installation, we are going to have signalized intersections on both sides, north and south. The north side, which is by the Animal Services Center, is not going to have any lane configurations, so those signals will just be installed at that intersection. It'll have a signal in those, it'll have 3 signals for those directions, north, south, and west, as the frontage road is a one-way. On the eastbound, Bataan Memorial East, you'll have those same signal installations, but you will also have, if you look on your screen where the pointer's at, we will be adding a dedicated right-hand turn lane onto Rinconada. With that, it'll include new ADA ramps. It'll have to have a new alignment for the ADA crosswalks. And also, in the northbound direction, the median will be modified. As you can see, there's 2 through lanes that match up on the other side, but this dedicated left lane, this modification here will allow for cars or vehicles to stack in this and also make that through the intersection to make a left-hand turn as you get to the other intersection. This here is just a cutout and connects to this portion here. This down here is North Rise. This location here, you can see a little bit of that slope from the Animal Service Center, and you'll have the signals in those 3 locations for this project. This is a project that is on NMDOT right-of-way, so once the project is complete, NMDOT will come forth to council for the city to have those maintenance agreements, just like we do at any other signalized intersections within NMDOT right-of-way and city limits. And now I'll go ahead and turn it over to Vanessa for the next portion.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. Vanessa F. King, the Facilities Management Administrator for the record. So we're here today to talk about the municipal court rehabilitation. We initially had 3 roofing projects, one for the Railroad Museum, which is now complete, the other one for Mearshite Recreation Center, which is 60% complete, and then the other for municipal court roof. Work started last week, so I just wanted to give you guys that update. Our quotes did come in lower than estimated, and therefore we're requesting that some of the remaining funds of these projects be used for additional work at municipal court. These funds will be used to complete the assessment, testing, abatement, and repairs of any environmental findings, and to upgrade and install security cameras and secure badge access to the building. And I will turn it over to Cynthia for further.
Cynthia Lamillo, CFP Manager. Thank you, David and Vanessa. Council, with that, we have your options, and city staff and their ACM is here to answer any specific questions.
All right, thank you, Cynthia. Councilor Curran?
My questions are for David, as he predicted. Thank you. Thanks, Cynthia. Thanks, Vanessa. I'm also glad municipal court is getting love. So just really quickly, way to make 2 of your most difficult clients happy with 1 project in terms of Flores' district and mine. Love to see it. I do have a quick question. This is a very difficult intersection. I go through it every day going to work. There are all those maniacs getting to Dutch Brothers, which is just up the road a little bit. Dutch Brothers has created its own traffic craziness. But I just really quickly, the slide where you're saying how much this is, because as you may know, I also am lobbying for this to happen at Roadrunner, which I think is something that residents have really been begging for because people are really terrible at 4-way or 3-way stops. But this costs, can you just give me a rough, I saw it on there and I never really realized exactly what the total for this is, and I would love to be able to tell people, this is how much this costs. When you ask for that, it's not just like someone, David goes out and sticks a light in the ground and we call it a day. This is an extraordinary effort, and it requires significant engineering design and work on your part. Can you just give me a rough estimate? I saw on this about how much it was, $800,000-ish?
Mayor, Councilor Corn, great question. The overall project cost is $1.5 million.
Oh, see, that's good to know. Okay, roughly twice what I would have been telling people, but I also want people to understand exactly when we ask for things like traffic lights at an intersection, that's not something that we can just lightly say like, oh yes, I'm on it. And I just really appreciate you bringing this forward. Of course, this is a really increasingly busy intersection, and I really appreciate understanding the full picture of how much this costs for folks and what it means in terms of the city's budget for different things. So that's all. I just wanted to know how much it was. I know you're not saying that Roadrunner would be the same, but I will tell people it's that, and we'll hope it's less when that time comes.
Thank you, Councilor Corn. And I do want to say, it's not me going out there putting a stake in their ground. It's all our public works staff, along with the community and the developers as well. Thank you.
No one else? Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-124. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is resolution number 25-125, a resolution adopting the 2024 Las Cruces International Airport Master Plan.
Move to approve. Graham.
Second, Corin.
When you're ready, Andy.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Since I gave a rather extended presentation at your work session last month, I'll keep this presentation quite short. During our master planning process, it extended we were hoping to keep it for about a year, but extended over about a 3-year process. We created a very ambitious vision for our airport, one that not only looked at creating a thriving gateway to our city and to our region, but one that really focused on creating economic opportunity for our region. So that's our vision that we have for our community, one that's includes our community, building up infrastructure, and building a strong economic future for our area. We followed a very rigorous planning process that is outlined by the FAA, and included 2 aspects that go through FAA approval, that being the forecast of aviation activity and the airport layout plan. Those 2 steps really, we kind of went toe-to-toe, as I mentioned before in our presentation with the FAA, and we really made sure that we fought for what we wanted for the future of our airport. One of the things, I don't know that I mentioned this in our presentation, but for the first time ever in our forecast, we got approved for an interstate passenger air service in our forecast. That's the first time that's ever happened for our airport. So we made sure that we had that included in our forecast. And ultimately, in our master plan, we came out with several infrastructure priorities. We went over some of those when we had in the presentation last month. We put forward that we wanted to become a regional economic development engine. We stressed the need to communicate with our Las Cruces Innovation and Industrial Park. We identify the opportunities to implement these things through our combined capital improvement programs, and we discussed ways that we would pursue a variety of funding opportunities. And I'm happy to say that through the legislative process, we actually were able to secure $2 million for infrastructure improvements in the last legislative session. So we're going to continue to pursue those opportunities as we move forward. And with that, Mr. Chair, Mr. Mayor, I will stand for any questions, and here are the council options here before you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Andy. Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you so much, Andy. Yep. Thank you for all your work and your foresight and your hard work. And thank you. So when is the interstate travel going to be established, and where is the interstate we're going to? I mean, are we going to go from here to El Paso? Or are we going to go from here to New York? Or, I mean, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Flores, the latest round of the RACE funding, the Rural Air Service Enhancement Funding, has just been released. The application has just been released by New Mexico DOT. Our hope is that we can go to Phoenix. That is our plan. There was $12 million set aside by the legislature for funding, and we're going to pursue it aggressively, as I mentioned in the presentation. And so that's our plan, is the next stop Phoenix.
Thank you so much. And I just really want to thank you, Andy, for the work that you've done. I know that Main Street, you were in the Economic Development Department at the time when Main Street really took off and became what it is today. And you've had the vision insofar as how the airport is crucial to economic development. And we just can't minimize that. It's going to bring a lot of, hopefully a lot of industry, especially with our park there, industrial park. And so I just want to thank you for your vision, your hard work, and putting up with the advisory board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-125. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is board appointments. I'll need a motion and a second. The following: Dr. Bueling Gardner for the new appointment for the Animal Service Center of the Mesilla Valley Board.
So moved, Graham.
Seconded, Corin.
This is on the motion to appoint Dr. Bueling Gardner to the ASCMV board. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Notice of proposed ordinance, none. Next is City Council member board reports and comments. Councilor McClure.
Thank you, Mayor. Just quickly, this time I wanted to do a shout out to the Historic Preservation Commission. I'm hoping I'm not stealing a Connie's glory by saying that we might be getting a historic preservation specialist. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I'm also, the commission's doing a really good job. They've created a watch list of different areas in town to kind of make sure that we keep and recognize the history of. And some of these are, if you went to college here at a certain time, going to the club, you'll recognize that, but also things like the mall and what that meant for our history. Of course, the roller rink, but also municipal court, which we are fixing up now. So things like that, those are 6 p.m. meetings, so there's flexibility if you want to get involved in the city. So, all right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Matisse.
No comments, no reports.
Councilor Graham.
Thank you. Speaking of the ASCMV board, just want to share that we are making good progress in our search for a new executive director, and to give an ongoing shout out to Elizabeth Seeley, who is doing an incredible job as interim director. So just wanting to acknowledge that. The only other thing I'll bring up, since we had a lot of public comment about public comment, I will renew my what now feels annual call to take a good look at how we structure and format public comment. I spoke with our city clerk, who I might mention again, the top city clerk in the state of New Mexico, let's not forget. And I believe, Mayor, you had requested that the New Mexico Municipal League do an analysis of some of our meetings. That analysis has been completed, and I think that the most productive and effective way to structure public comment is covered in that report. So I will just again bring up my hope that we can explore that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Graham. I second that desire to revisit that. Not that we're proposing any limits on public comment, just a restructuring of, because sometimes we're here and we don't have an opportunity to say anything until now, which is sometimes, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 hours later, definitely not always ideal in that context. But other than supporting Councillor Graham's ask, I don't have any other comments.
Thank you. Councillor Flores.
Yes, thank you. I first want to, and I hope we get more publicity on this, is to encourage people to become a donor and go to the motor vehicles department to show that on your driver's license, just in case you're in an accident, heaven forbid, but it does happen. And so anyway, Councilor Coran and I have it on our driver's licenses, and I'm sure more people do too. So I want to also comment on the Pope's passing, and I happened to be watching him when he was blessing the people there in Vatican City, and when he was just sitting and waving at people, and he passed away this morning. And I was raised Catholic, and then the family found out that we're actually Jewish, but I'm not a practicing Jew, and I'm not a practicing Catholic anymore. I'm just a human being who believes in, humanity and doing good. At any rate, the beauty of the Pope was that he was so humane. He's the first non-European Pope from Argentina. So my family in Argentina is, dancing in the streets. I mean, we're dancing in the streets, excuse me. Now they're mourning. But anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that he actually either spoke to the president or the vice president about some of the inhumanity that they're imposing on our country and the world. And so he was a man of, a person of, he had a global view of the world, and, I'll miss him. I also want to give a shout out. I had a terrifying experience this past weekend where I was coming home from El Paso, and a rock hit my car and another car. And so it wiped out my, it just shredded one of my tires. And I was stranded there, and AAA never showed up. So I'm sitting there, and the other driver changed his tire, and then he said, I'll change yours. And I said, okay, but I had called AAA already, and this was a little after 7. So it was dusky. And anyway, they never, anyway, I didn't in my Hyundai, I didn't have a spare. So those of you who drive a Hyundai, be sure you have a spare. I never had used to look. No, yeah. So it was kind of scary. But anyway, so then the young man who offered was very, very tired, but he was, he was wonderful. He said, I'll stay here until someone comes. And then I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I thought, I'm going to call Ikani, my employee. And I'm going to, and I think I was already crying, but I was like scared. It was in the middle of the desert, and I had just crossed into Anthony, New Mexico. I mean, the bad thing was that, it happened. The good thing was that I was actually in New Mexico. And so Ikani called Chief Story, and then Chief Story called the state police, the New Mexico State Police, and they stayed there with me. And finally, it was almost 11 o'clock, and AAA kept calling, saying, where exactly are you? And I said, you're the 3rd or 4th person I've spoken to. What the huda? Don't you have a map? I mean, what? How many times do you have to hear it? Anyway, I'm canceling AAA or not reading, whatever. But anyway, I just want to give a shout out to Sergeant Arellano and Officer Barragan, or Barron. Chief Story, what's his name? Barron or Barragan? Yeah, you know.
Councilor Flores, I think it's Baron, but I'm not
Oh,
positive
okay, yeah,
which one was
Barron.
there.
Yeah, because, yeah, it wasn't Baron, it was Barron, yeah. At any rate, I just want to share that with you, and I know that, we get a lot of rotten tomatoes thrown at us, and it's, just an example of how a community comes together, and I'm just so grateful, because it was scary out there. And the young man who wanted to stay there was like falling asleep because he'd driven from back east and was on his way home to, he was on I-10, and the both of us, but he had whatever. Anyway, so again, thank you, Ikani, Tamopeo, and Chief Story, and the State Police, Arellano and Barron. So, and the other thing, well, not the other thing, but insofar as our community, we had several people from commenting on how we need more recreation for our children. And I just hope that, it happens sooner than later. I think we really have to focus on our youth. I started last week or last meeting commenting on the little girls who, La Señora Maria Flores was on the school board, and she visited all the schools and asked one little girl why she goes to school. She didn't say, and finally she said, I come to eat. The other little girl that finally had a paper bag that she always carried, she finally let her see that. And all she had she didn't have any food in there. She just said, oh, I have my lunch. But then it turns out she only had a rock, and she just made it look like it was her food. And what I was trying to get at, but I digress so much because I've got so much on my mind. No, I'm a digresser. But is that a lot of people say we can't blame poverty, but we can look at it analytically, and if we live in a society where we are sending our children to school on an empty stomach, what do we expect? Think about how you feel when you're hungry. You get irritable. You get, it's a horrible thing to be hungry and then not know where your next meal is coming from. And the other thing is that, yes, even though New Mexico is largely Latino or Spanish or Mexican American or whatever, the same trauma that affects every minority group is prevalent here in spite of that. So people become marginalized. People feel that they just don't belong. So then they start forming their own groups. And this is something that we studied a lot back in the 60s and 70s in terms of demonstrations and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, I just hope that our community, and I know our city does, but I just hope that we invest more in our children, everything and anything we can do, especially our parks and all that. And of course, the safe streets is very important. And I want to say that when I was a delegate to the international, I can't even remember the name, it was like so many years ago, I was a representative to the World Green Conference or something, I can't even remember what it was. But there was a huge exposition, it was in Germany. It was a huge exposition. And and all the countries in the world had their little thing. And there was one country, Bhutan, who boasted that it was the happiest place on earth. So I asked the lady who was sitting in her booth, everything was like huge, not just the little booth, but huge and beautiful. I said, so people are happy? People talk to each other and they're happy? She said, no, it's not that kind of happiness. She said, it's not like, oh, hello, how are you? No, people have their bad days and, people can get mean sometimes. But happy insofar as people who live there get everything they need to be a human being. And that was the year that I was asked to run for city council. And I had just gotten back from that, or was it about a year later? No, that was the same year. And I decided I would run for City Council to make it better. I won't be running again, so if there's anybody in District 6 who wants to have, you know, tomatoes thrown at you, please think about it. Because it's a long time coming. Not a long time coming, but everything is a slow process. Anyway, and I recommend to the readership, to the public who is listening, I'd recommend 2 books. One of them is called The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. The other one is titled Wretched of the Earth by Franz F-R-A-N-Z, Fanon, F-A-N-O-N. He's of French ancestry or from Algeria, who studied in France or something. At any rate, I've been talking a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Yes, I wanted to ditto Councilor Graham's idea. I think additionally, I just want to speak to the criticism that I hear often about the time of our meetings and that they're inaccessible. I do want to say that first, this governing body of all the governing bodies in Doñana County, I think is the most accessible. I think we have the most meetings out of everyone, including Doñana County Commission, the school board, and us, that we meet nearly every Monday with, you know, a few exceptions. I will also say that school board does have their meetings in the evenings, and folks don't stay for that either. So, and sometimes staff and school board members are having meetings till 10:30 p.m. And we're public servants, but I think there's limits to certainly what we should require of people. I'm not sure I could get any business done that late anyway. So it's difficult because I think no one has really figured out what the best time is, but I do just wanted to note that and always appreciate that folks are able to come here. There was a couple of people who came here today, and when I think about public comment, I'm like, gosh, that's really it, right? It's not the disinformation and not the tomato throwing. It's residents coming to speak up about problems in their neighborhood or in the city and bringing solutions or wanting to have answers. And so I appreciate both Stephen and David for running out and catching the folks that had questions specific to their departments, and thank you for answering those. Though I would love a better sort of way to be able to answer people's questions as they're happening, because those individuals want the answer, but I think many more people in our community want the answer to those questions without us ever having to engage in debate. That is absolutely the last thing that we need. I will say that I'm looking forward to our work session for the recap of the legislative session, which to many folks' opinions, it was nothing effective happened. I wholeheartedly disagree. I think even if you just look at SB 1 and 3, a huge mental health, like the largest investment in our behavioral health system in decades happened, and that's pretty incredible and powerful. I also want to note that we had a very effective year in capital outlay appropriations, a little bit over 13 million. And we would have had 23 million with a $10 million appropriation that a couple of us lobbied for and got in the budget that was unfortunately line item vetoed, that would have gone for housing. That being said, I'm happy to report that today, myself, Mayor, our city manager, and a couple other folks from housing did meet with the Secretary of Workforce Solutions, Secretary Sarita Nair, who is now overseeing housing. We met with her today here in Las Cruces. She toured some of our current projects, housing projects, and we're still advocating for those $10 million to come to a community for the projects that are literally currently being built as we speak, and they could start housing people in as short as a year and a half or 2 years. And those are incredible investments for us to continue lobbying for, and we will continue doing so alongside Chairman Nathan Small. And then I also wanted to just speak a little bit on Pope Francis passing. I was a young community organizer doing faith-based work when he came up, and he made a tremendous impact on my journey as a community organizer. And I don't know if you've ever, any of you have gotten a chance to read his encyclical, Laudato Si, which focused on climate change and inequity. And it was the first time that a Catholic Pope had ever talked about climate change and what it means to care for Mother Earth and the people on it. And in this encyclical, he also talked about that we must reject the culture, the throwaway culture that often exists so much in our economies, especially in our economies. And he was quoted once by saying that in the end, it is not simply a matter of having more, but being more, a fundamental renewal of hearts and minds so that the human person may always be placed at the center of social, cultural, and economic life. And just wanted to speak to that a little bit because it was definitely sad news this morning. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yeah, a few things that I want to mention also is we can definitely revisit the public comments and look at that. The whole objective, the whole goal of City Council is to run a meeting, a government meeting, and so we'll definitely look at how we can do that. Ms. Stryker mentioned it herself, public comments, public participation is not really a requirement in city council meetings, but we'll definitely look at it. I think it's twofold. It's not only individuals coming here, but it's also us going out there. Last Saturday, I met with the neighborhood watch captains to go over a lot of the issues and concerns. Yes, Councilor McClure was there with me, and we met to hear their concerns, their issues from public safety, public works, things that are going on in their neighborhood, code enforcement. So we get that list to the city manager and see how we can make a difference in the community. So we're out there also listening more than just 3 minutes that are allowed. The other one is the Safer Business. I was there as their guest speaker last Monday and answering questions, and I appreciate these neighborhoods, watch teams, captains, Safer Business that want to get involved and make Las Cruces better. So we support that, and we go out there and we work with them as well. Looking to the future, our youth in this community is precious to me. We had the mayor's top teen. They just had their annual banquet, and just the ambition, the drive, the goals that they want and make their lives better to improve. So it's a great thing to see. And also, I've mentioned before, I walk with the kids from Hermosa Heights Elementary every Thursday morning. And it's not just a matter of showing that leadership cares for them, but they also feed me. And it's a good feeling. Chief Story's not here right now, but I already shared with him. There was a second grader, and I'll just call him Jay. And I asked Jay, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, I want to be an officer. I said, what kind of officer? He said, I want to be a police officer. So it gives me hope. It's great that there's still kids in our community that want to be in public safety, and it's a good feeling. And with that, I'm glad Mayor Pro Tem, she mentioned the housing. We did meet with the Cabinet Secretary from Workforce, and thank Natalie Green and her staff for having projects ready, available, permit ready, shovel ready, so that we can move forward and take advantage of some of that funding. With that, also this coming weekend, we have the 3rd annual Mira Las Cruces. So kudos to Visit Las Cruces for putting this on. It'll be Saturday, April 26th at 2 p.m., 9:30 p.m. on the downtown plaza. Free family-friendly event, performances throughout the day. Our city manager's favorite, the luchador matches, there'll be mariachis, ballet folklorico. I stole his notes. And, just a lot of entertainment for the community. And that's what I've said from the get-go. I would rather that we gather than scatter. So this is a way that we bring our community together. So please come out and join us at the plaza and celebrate. Again, thank you, Visit Las Cruces, for all you do. And this is the 3rd annual Mira Las Cruces. And with that, I'll turn it over to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Enriquez, Mayor Pro Tem Coleman, City Council, Ikani Tamopeao, City Manager, and just have a few updates I would ask the employees that we'll be introducing just to come up to the front. I'll share my announcements, and then I'll have our new directors that have been in their seats, some for a few weeks, some for a month or so, that I've failed to recognize at this council meeting, which typically I try to do, but I forgot. Talking about gathering and not scattering. So right before this meeting, the reason why I was a few minutes late, because staff from the city manager's office and LCPS, DAC, we were huddling together because summer internship programs are coming up, and some of you may already be tracking, but the governor has allocated $10 million throughout the state for a summer internship program. And last year, she allocated about half of that to DAC, so $5 million. This has typically been on Doña Ana County to do, and so this year, we've come together to see what we can do to help out. And so I just want to give thanks to LCPS, Ignacio, Superintendent, Rachel, Chief HR Director, Dr. Wendy, HR Director, and Cindy, Career Specialist from LCPS, DAC. We have Scott, CEO, Assistant County CEO, Deb Weir, Meg, HR Director and Deputy Director of DAC, assisting, as well as on our staff, Jose, Deputy Director of HR, Melanie, HR HRIS Manager, and Valerie, Career Development Coordinator, and Joe, our HR Director and CMO staff, along with other staff, supporting staff. This year, we are working together, all organizations, to see what we can do to get this off the ground successfully. And so I just wanted to share that we had a successful meeting before this meeting, and staff will continue to do everything we can to get this going. The internship program will be posted within the upcoming days, so there is a race to get this posted. And as you know, there's just so much operations and logistics to be done within that time before kids are out for summer, and so there's just so much to do before that. But I just want to appreciate all the staff and Leslie as well, our finance director, bringing things. It's going to be magical, but it's going to happen. So I just wanted to share that, rest assured, for those who are following, and thanks again to LCPS, DAC, and City of Las Cruces staff. I appreciate Councilor McClure sharing information about our historic preservation specialist. Starts May 4th, so we are excited for that when they start. And just a few more updates, and then I will let our staff who's standing. Sorry, you can sit down. you can sit down, and then we'll start with Chris, though, but feel free to sit. Sorry about that. I didn't mean for you to stand at attention. Just need you close to the front, that's all. Thank you. Quality of life, collaboration with Doña Ana County for library service. Quality of life Director Carol Bray and Deputy Director of Library Sarah Booth attended a meeting with Doña Ana County officials on Monday to discuss progress towards opening the library in Chaparral, as well as the MOU between the city and county for library services. In addition, we're excited because a bookmobile has been awarded by state legislators as well. So this is a bookmobile that Quality of Life has connected with CMO staff, Sonia. They all discussed about coming up with a bookmobile that could be run by the city, but can serve the region and county. So we're excited about that. Additionally, Senior Programs is planning the Abuse and Later Life Awareness Health Fair. We plan to have between 20 to 30 vendors this year, and are looking at hosting this health fair at the Munson Center on either June 13th or June 20th. Volunteer Income Tax Assistant Program, VITA, a success story. Monday was the last day of tax season for our VITA tax assistant volunteers at the Brannigan Library. During the 10-week program, they prepared over 500 state and federal tax returns for the community. So kudos to those who supported that and the volunteers making that happen. Las Cruces Museum's first annual STEM Festival was held on Saturday, April 12th at the Railroad Museum, and nearly 200 attendees, a great crowd for the first attempt. This annual event provides opportunities for all ages to learn about science, technology, engineering, math, STEM activities in a fun environment. Parks and Rec, just 2 announcements. Our annual Mother's Day concert will be held at the downtown Las Cruces Plaza on May 11th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Come here, Darren Cordova and Y Calor, and celebrate all the mothers in our community. Last but not least, join us in keeping our community beautiful and participating in this year's Great American Cleanup this Saturday, April 26th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Volunteers can select a location or clean or have one assigned by KLCB coordinator. Trash collection supplies can be picked up from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. at the Walmart on Walton Drive. Also, Walmart will be providing a free breakfast to all volunteers. All right. So last, I'd like to end with introductions. So if Chris Favor could please stand up. We'll start with you. Chris Favor is our Community Development Director, and he's been in this position since March 9th. And again, I failed to recognize him at this meeting, but you all know Chris. He goes by many aliases, but he's been in the city for a while. But with no further ado, Chris, just wanted to do introduction, not only for council who may already know you, but for the public who are watching online and for those in the audience.
Sure. Thank you for that introduction, Akani. Mayor, City Council, Chris Favor, Community Development Director for the record. Yes, I have been on the job here in community development for about a month and a half, but I have been serving as an interim role, deputy role since last summer, helping move Realize to the finish line and helping streamline a few processes in the planning department. But I have been with the city for 24 years. I started out doing marketing for Visit Las Cruces when it was called the Convention and Visitors Bureau. From there, I moved over and ran the Rio Grande Theater when the city took that over in 2017. And then from there, I did downtown development, and then my last position before moving over to community development was deputy director in economic development, working with Elizabeth Teeter. So I'm very excited for this new opportunity. My background is in economic development and marketing, and I'm hoping to bring a different approach to community development, one that kind of streamlines the process, makes things a little bit more user-friendly and a little bit more business-friendly approach to things. So working closely with other departments like Public Works and Utilities and Parks and the local developer community to try and make us a more user-friendly and efficient department. So I'm very excited. I thank the city manager for this opportunity. And to Councilor McCurr's point about historic preservation, yes, we do have a historic preservation specialist coming on board. Her name is Caitlin Beasley. She was the top candidate back in December, but she actually took another job working at Joshua Tree. However, when there were federal layoffs, I reached out to her to see if she was still interested, and I talked her into coming to Las Cruces. So she quit her job there, and she's moving to Las Cruces, and we're very excited to have her. I think she's the perfect person for this job. She has a real passion for historic preservation, but specifically working with communities on the ground. So I think she'll be a great fit. And I'll be sure to bring her by City Council at some point in the future for everyone to meet her. So thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself.
All right, next up we'll have Jenny Hernandez, Sustainability Officer. I've had the opportunity to work with Jenny when I worked closely with Lisa, and when we heard on the download that Lisa was retiring, we were wondering who would be the next one up. And the first name that came to mind, and when I came in this position, I didn't work closely with them. I said the only one who could do it is the one in front of us. And at the time, they said that she went out to greener pastures. And so I was saddened to hear that she wasn't here, but then you came back, and here you are. And so she came back while Lisa was still here, so it all worked out. And I'm proud to say that I appointed her. We didn't go through the interview process because I know that she can do this job. Lisa was great, and she's great as well. And so we have great we have great people in these positions. But with no further ado, Jenny.
Thank you, Ikani. Mayor, Council, it's good to see all of you again. Jenny Hernandez, Sustainability Officer, I'm still getting used to that title. For the record, Ikani and Sonia, thank you so much for the opportunity. It was really grateful and excited for the opportunity and looking forward to the very big challenge that I have ahead of me. But if any of the counselors ever need anything, please let me know, and happy to help. And I'm sure that I will be talking to you all very soon again. A little bit of background, like Ikani said, I worked here at the city for almost 3 years, and then took a little sabbatical because I wanted to see what else was out there. So I did environmental work at the federal level for a nonprofit called Green Latinos. But I really missed place-based work that was national, and it was not as fun. And so I wanted to come back, and Lisa was grateful enough and gracious enough to have a position open. So I came back, and then she said, well, I'm ready to leave then. And so, I appreciate it. Before this, I was at the city of El Paso in the same capacity at their Sustainability and Resilience Office for a little while, and then hopped over to community development. And so, I've only ever worked 1 year out of municipal government, and so glad to be back. Again, thank you, Ikani and Sonia, for the opportunity, and looking forward to it.
Thank you, Jenny. And I'd like to correct what I said. We talked with Sonia. When I appointed, of course, I don't move until I talk with my ACMs. So thank you, Sonia, for bringing that to me, because these are things that Jenny's a great employee. So we appointed you. So I want to say it wasn't just me, but you're a fan favorite here. So appreciate you. Next up, we have Richard Hanaway. Again, this is consulting with JC as well. This is a very specific, unique position. Known Richard as well, working closely with Mike as Assistant City Manager. Richard has several years with the city in capacity when it comes to transit. He knows how to get under the hood. As well, he worked in logistics for trunking companies, which gave him the experience and expertise to do what he does. But I won't steal his thunder. But again, I'm proud that CMO staff, we recognize great individuals, and again, just another appointment that we were able to move quickly because we have great staff already on hand. But Richard, no further ado, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Connie, and Council, Mayor. As you know, I've worked with the mayor also when he was the ACM. He oversaw transit. Little background about myself. My family's from Tularosa. My mom and dad were high school sweethearts, and my dad joined the military. So I was born in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I actually started school in Germany when I was in elementary school, and came back to the States. My dad ended up retiring out of Fort Bliss. That's how we ended up back in the area. We started a trucking company together, my father and I, and we ran it from 92 till 2008 when the economy kind of took a dive. And it was at that time that I started looking for a local job. And I came on to the city as a bus operator in 2010. I worked my way up to a fixed route supervisor and then to transit manager, and I've had that position since 2015. So I was lucky enough to work with Mike, whom I'm sure you all know, who just retired, but I got 11 solid years with him to pick his brain, and he taught me well. So I'm very proud for the opportunity. I don't know if everybody knows this, but my wife works in HR. She's the benefits coordinator. Her name's Jenna Torres Hanway, and we're city folks, you know. We like where we're at, and hope to continue the opportunity.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Next up, we have, and last but not least, we have Fire Chief Daniels, please. I do want to give kudos to our DC Deputy Chief, Fire Chief Sean Heck. He was interim during the hiring of and the posting and the interviewing process. of our new fire chief. It was a very competitive selection process, one that went national as well. But in the end, we have the person in front of us who scored the highest. And so I want to share appreciation for DC Sean Heck as he continues as deputy chief. There's a lot of work that he continues to do in supporting our fire chief, Mike Daniels. And so I appreciate Chief Daniels. He's been on serving us since March 23rd, but in this official capacity, but he's been with the city, I think, when Mayor was fire chief. He has stories that he shares with me a few times as well. Good stories of Chief Daniels. But I just want to say, in these months that I've been able to work closely, when I was working with the former fire chief, I've worked closely with the deputies. It was a pleasure, but it's always a different capacity when you're wearing the chief's hat. And so we've had a few urgent matters that we had to discuss and figure out. And so he's been there every step of the way, and he's already had the hearts and minds of the department. So I just want to say thank you, Chief Daniels, for stepping into the position. Again, all great candidates of all those staff stepping in positions so that we can have seamless transitions. But Chief Daniels, thank you so much. And so with no further ado, I'll let you share words.
Mayor, council, city staff, and for the public that's present and watching online, I just want to say thank you. I consider myself very privileged to be in this position and selected to continue to serve in this position alongside the members of our department. I've been serving the city since 2006 after getting out of the military. The mayor was actually my academy coordinator, so I've been very appreciative of the relationship and the opportunity to serve alongside the mayor in this position. I think our department's one of the best in the nation, and it's one of the reasons I'm extremely proud. I've had the privilege of being able to travel and serve on many boards nationally, and we're at the forefront of everything the fire is doing innovatively, from MIH, from our light program, to the way we deploy our apparatus, to our ability to adjust and pivot for transport. We've just been one of the best and are truly a great example. Many of the things we do today that have been supported by our previous chiefs, they're what fire departments are trying to get to in the form of how fire departments run. So I'm looking forward to the challenge of continuing to bring public value, continuing to serve the members of our public who are the most important to us, and it's who we take an oath every day to protect. And to the city. And as the fire chief, I hope to be present and available when anybody needs anything, and I encourage members of our public, our elected body, and city staff to reach out so we can continue to be good partners and stewards of the city's resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Daniels. We have had a few discussions, and he's asked what was one of the goals that I had as he's stepping into this position. And I told him there's departments that we want to deviate from course, and we need to do an immediate transition, and we need to go in a different direction. This is not one of those departments. He's been part of the culture. Mayor's been part of the culture, building to MIH program, which is a great program to everything that's been happening. So every chief before you has been, and you've been part of that as deputy chief, bringing in the culture. And it's what I told him is we're not changing, but we're refining what we continue to do. And we have a spouse of a firefighter on the dais, and so you just continue doing what you're doing, and if there's anything that we can do, and that goes for transit, that goes for sustainability, and that also goes for community development and any other departments, just let us know what we can do to support you all. But thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, if we can get you to gather up here so we can get a photo of you all with the city manager. Leslie, come jump in the photo as our new finance director. Okay, wait.
Move to adjourn.
Yeah, we're gonna wait for the city manager, but we're gonna adjourn the meeting. But before we adjourn, I just want to say, I know we mentioned the ASL. You know, you start the meeting, you end the meetings, and I just want to say thank you. Mentioning is one thing, but thanking you for what you do, it's much appreciated. Thank you. And so now show us how you do motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I apologize. I retract my initial urgent motion.
So this is the motion to adjourn the meeting. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
It's, yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Coran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. JC, Sonia.